I can tell you that the rapper Nicki Minaj being a guest on the stage at AMFest this year was not on my bingo card. This was completely unexpected. And I kind of look at it as a different way. Um, First things first, you have to know your audience. I don't know if Nicki is going to be able to successfully replace the her fans that she lost today with new fans from the TPUSA audience. I'm not sure. But then again, I don't know if music is primarily her goal anymore. She's from Trinidad and Tobago originally, I believe, and she could be planning to run for office over there in her home country. But everyone knows that to be black in America is to be gay. So if your audience is a black audience, it's a gay audience. You cannot come out on stage at one of the largest patriotic conservative platforms at one of their largest events in the country for conservatives and expect to keep your barbs. Because right now, this is a fork in the road for any of her black fans. What's more important, being black or being American? Nicki Minaj did not go on stage and cry about victimhood, racism. She didn't go on stage and pretend that she was less than or a victim of anyone. There was nothing about her that was insecure, no signs of an inferiority complex. This right here is going to shake her fans of the black community to their core because this is like a short circuit moment. They are not going to know what to do. Their queen, their leader, there's millions of barbs that love her to death. But we know her audience is also made up of a lot of men who are gay, men who are pedophiles, men who are into little boys. And I've already seen it happening because she made a comment on stage. I'm going to play that video in a second too. And it's causing a huge uproar. But one thing about the black community in the United States, there's not a lick of patriotism. They hate the country. They just refuse to leave it. And they have a million excuses why they won't move and liberate themselves and go find freedom in Africa or another country. But when you have someone on stage with a platform like this, and she's speaking about being a patriot, loving our president and what our president has done for to expose the how they're targeting Christians all over the world, but specifically in Nigeria. And Trump said, look, if they keep killing Christians, I'll send the military in guns a-blazing. There's literally thousands of Nigerians screaming right now, please, President Trump, please. So you have blacks in Africa screaming for Trump, but then you have the ungrateful ones here in the United States that hate him, but they can't explain why. Well, because the gay community teaches them to hate them and to hate Trump. So now you have Nicki Minaj, your leader, who's never shown any kind of interest in politics. I don't remember her ever having anything controversial to say one way or the other at all. So this is a pivotal moment for where her audience and where she's going to go. Remember, Snoop Dogg just DJ'd at an inaugural event when he won, and they're still the low IQ gay blacks are still taunting him on the internet right now. And the inauguration was almost a year ago. So I don't know what tomorrow brings for Nicki Minaj. And I don't know if the fans that are in this crowd are going to be like, I want to be a fan of hers now in her music. I don't think the evangelical Christian community is going to necessarily want to change their taste in people and music. But what does that matter? If Nicki's an American and she's a patriot and she loves her country, then I mean, if she's more worried about, I think she's at a point now where she's more worried about the future. Since she's a mother now, she has a son. I think she's worried about these agendas being pushed on her son. And you don't see a lot of strong men anymore. She talks about Trump and JD Vance being inspirational. So I'm going to let Nicki Minaj talk for a second. We're going to go talk about her controversial take and then and how people are taking that from her fan base. And we'll go from there. So let's give it a second.
With regard to the current administration What has been maybe the biggest surprise for you, or something that you just really has been put on your heart?
Do me a favor, like the video, share the video. We're live on YouTube, The Single Boyfriend. I see you guys over on Twitter and Twitch. If you can, come over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the video. I appreciate your support.
That you've learned about our president and our vice president?
Well, I have the utmost respect and admiration for our president. He has, I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact.
From what I can tell, when she's referring to the bad guys, she's referring to liberals and Democrats, the people that support human traffickers, sex traffickers, specifically child traffickers. You got to understand, Nicki is a mother now, and everybody takes low blows at her. Oh, her husband, her baby father's on the registry list. But well, there's 2 points about that. For one, I think he was like 18, she was 17. The girl's mother pressed charges. So that's kind of a, they kind of railroaded him if that's like exactly how the story went. For two, the same people making that point are the same people that say nothing about Scott Wiener in California and Gavin Newsom passing Senate Bill 145, which decriminalized pedophilia. So if you're an adult and you're caught molesting a child, you no longer have to register on the sex offender list if the child claims that they're gay too. So you can't have it both ways. You can't throw that at Nicki Minaj as an insult, but yet you support it in California because you're a liberal or you're a Democrat. You can't say, oh, you're make fun of you and say, oh yeah, your husband, this and this, but yet you also support pedophiles. You're not really worried about the Epstein list. You're just waiting for something on Trump because you don't really care. Just like Kamala and Biden, they had the list. They didn't care. So let's keep that in perspective, shall we?
He's from Queens, New York, like me. So, but what it's shown me personally is sometimes, even in the worst feeling times in your life, you think that you're never going to come back from it, but you do. And our president shows that he's been through every single thing a person could be through publicly.
There's nobody that can deny that. There's nobody that can say Trump hasn't been through. I've never seen the gauntlet of a media blitz that lasted indefinitely for years against one single person the way I've seen them go after Trump. After what we've seen them do to Trump, any of us who put ourselves out there to support the president, to talk about politics, to become a part of this arena where our ideas are expressed on a microphone and camera, we all understand the risk. We saw what they did to Trump. They're going to destroy you. They're going to tear apart your personal life, your relationships. They'll find your exes just so that they can say bad things about you because they want you to shut up, because they understand that words can make change. And not a lot of people are willing to say the words. That's why I'm shocked that Nicki is here doing this because of all the consequences that come with it. There's going to be, you talk about people getting threats, she's going to be getting threats from her own fan base. And then to be sitting up here with somebody as controversial as Erika Kirk. I mean, as of today, she's the poster girl for what the epitome of evil is. They've already dug up, now that she's been in the public eye more, now we're able to look everything up about her family, her background. Did you know she was from a mob family, a Jewish mob family? Her father, they looked up his last name. And it's crazy. There's these other mob bosses on the East Coast that are all coming out, mob bosses that do organized crime in and out of federal prison. doing podcast shows talking about a woman named Candace Owens. What the fuck does a criminal mob boss care about some woman with kids on YouTube, a YouTuber? Why do you care? Matter of fact, who told you to care? Who told you to make videos about her? So when you think about Nicki Minaj, the gangster rapper, and Erika Kirk, I'll be honest, the most dangerous person on this stage, the real gangster on this stage, is Erika. And that's why I don't think Nicki is up to date on everything that we know. I don't think she understands who she's sitting with. And also I don't think there's no actual record of these two ever meeting. So I think this is all a lot of just niceties. Like they're just girls being girls. Oh, I know her heart. I know her. You've never met this broad. You don't know her. You don't know what she's about. You don't know what she's into. But also, I wouldn't want to be on stage at a fucking TPUSA event anyway. They literally just executed Charlie Kirk at a TPUSA event a couple of months ago. Their security is flawed. I wouldn't be on stage. I don't understand why. I don't know why Nicki, this is a huge security risk. Luckily nothing happened, but the actual gangster, the actual dangerous person on the stage is Erika. She's one of those people that can just snap her fingers and get you knocked. We know she was Charlie's handler. And if they had those meetings at Fort Huachuca, the day before the assassination in Utah, if they had that meeting and she's that woman with the blue eyes that were very captivating and unforgettable, if it was her at that meeting with the head of security, those same security guards that picked up Charlie, but none of them even took off their shades to get a good look at his injury and try to see how they can stop the bleeding before they transport him. Yeah, those same security guards, the ones that let him get killed. She was with one of them apparently at this meeting at Fort Huachuca. If that's the case, then this was all planned ahead of time. And it's starting to look a little bit like that piece of shrapnel or whatever that hit him in the throat. That wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be an act. And then something real happened. That's why it seems like they were all just, playing the role. I don't think that neck injury was on purpose. I think that could have been something that just happened on accident. It wasn't supposed to do that because there was obviously a violent explosion under his shirt. We don't know what exploded exactly. We have theories. We know one of the security guards had a device on his stomach that went around to his hip, and he kept putting his fingers in his pocket and adjusting it, turning up the voltage or whatever. But whatever it was, every time he got close to Charlie, it gave off feedback. This was an elaborate plan. It seems like it was something that was going to be staged, and then something went wrong. But we're digging and we're finding out more and more every day. And what we're knowing now is that Erika Kirk is not to be trusted, especially not to let her ever become Erika Kirk Vance. So now that we're figuring all this out, I don't think someone like Nicki understands who she's on stage with. You got to be careful who you become friends with. Some people are dangerous and too dangerous, and people will connect you to them in the future when all of this eventually comes out. And eventually this will all come out. There's way too much pressure. There's too many eyes. There's too many people around the world. I have people messaging me from Germany and Sweden asking me my opinion on these different stories about this topic. So the pressure is not going to go away. But don't get me wrong. I do appreciate somebody like Nicki Minaj showing up and letting her audience know that it's okay to be Black and a patriot. Don't let the gay Blacks convince you to hate yourself and hate your country. You should be proud of everything about yourself. And the fact that she uses Trump as an example, we all seen what he overcame to become president again. Remember all the trials? Remember he was going to rallies and then flying back to New York and flying into Georgia, flying to these places to go to these BS trials for these nonsensical fake charges. He survived it all. Remember, he had to come up with like 400 or something million liquid. And luckily the IPO for Truth Social came through, and he actually had 10 times more capital than he needed. He persevered, and you can too, is the point. So I do appreciate her message. I mean, I just think that she's dancing with the devil by sitting here with this woman.
Having to constantly be lied on. It's not really that funny. Until you are in that person's shoes that's being lied on, you'll never understand what it feels like. That person is a human being. They have a family who has to read those lies.
Oh, and Rachel Braun, that's bullshit. They did not perform any life save. If anything, they tried to kill him. If you notice, the same side of his body that he was shot apparently in is when they pushed him down, they kept him that side like as if they were trying to pour out a container. It's like they were trying to dump all of his liquids out. The smart thing would have been to be roll him over so that way gravity is holding in his blood. But instead they were pouring it out. They didn't. There was no CPR. There was no bandages. There was nothing. The EMTs were trying to hand them supplies so they can treat them. They just whisked him away to a car and then went to a further away hospital than the local one. So you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. And I don't know why you would make up and say something so ridiculous because we have the footage. I can play it back right now. When did they do any life-saving procedures? You're lying. It's nonsense that people don't even watch. They just make up these comments. It's crazy.
And that's not, and it's just not fair. But this administration is full of people with heart and soul. And they make me proud of them. Our vice president, he makes me, well, I love both of them. But they're both powerful men, smart, strong, all of that. But both of them have a very uncanny ability to be someone that you relate to. I can relate to them. When I hear them speak, I know that they're one of us. Like, I know that they're not. Don't you guys agree? They haven't lost touch of the world. You know, they're still connected to the world and what's happening in the world.
You know, it's crazy. A lot of her fans are just now finding out that Nicki is American, but she's proud to be an American. See, she's an immigrant. I'm an immigrant. We choose to come to this country. People that are already from the United States, they take this place for granted. So when you choose to come here, you look at the place different. That's why I'm so much against birthright citizenship. I think people should be able to lose their right to be here. You can lose your privilege with a certain amount of violent crime convictions, and you can be repatriated to another country, and maybe you'll do better there than you're doing here because too many people take the privilege of living in the United States for granted. So I'll be honest, in my opinion, Nicki, to not be a known person to speak on these types of issues or in these types of arenas, I think she's doing very well, you know, knowing that there's a lot of pressure for her to not say anything. And there's going to be a lot of pressure to cancel her as of tomorrow. The trans community is already going after her. And the gay community, the black gay community, they're also going after her. But they're going to have to fight against each other because, well, they make up the barbs. So you're going to have the people that support her still in the barbs, and then you got the gays who hate her in the barbs. And it's going to be a civil war in the Nicki Minaj camp, which is extremely large. And they make up, you know, when they talk about cancel culture, it's really only for black people. So black people can cancel other black people based on Twitter. And the people that are in charge of all of black Twitter, those are all Nicki Minaj fans, and they are already going to war, fighting against her and for her. And it's crazy, and she knew this was going to happen, and she still made the sacrifice, came out on stage, and she's speaking what she believes in. She's speaking from her heart, and I appreciate it. I mean, yeah, she had to sit there with somebody who's probably evil to get it done, but I mean, but you know, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
World, with the younger people and older people, with the richer people and not so rich people. They have the ability to still connect and be real and make us feel proud to be American.
Amen. That's beautiful. And just in case you didn't know, Nicki Minaj recently thanked President Trump for shedding light on the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. Listen to this.
Now, I'll show you guys the Nigerians, the blacks in Nigeria that are literally begging for Trump to come over there and to basically save them from their own people.
Of religion or belief.
Okay, now this is in Nigeria. Listen to this.
Yes, as you can see, we are protecting peaceful protest. We support the coming of the Trump in Nigeria. This killing of Christians is too much in Nigeria.
Why can't the blacks in Compton get it together, or the ones in Memphis or Atlanta or any of these black stronghold places that are war zones where we have to send in the National Guard to keep them from killing each other? You know, you got to think about it. When they're talking about we have to bring in the military, it's not to stop everybody from committing crime. It's not an everybody thing. They're only bringing in the military to protect black people from other black people, or to protect society from black people. It's not like they're saying, well, we have Asian gangs here. Yes, we have ICE going after illegals. The National Guard is for crime in cities that are ran by blacks and dominated by blacks and being destroyed and ripped apart by blacks. So when you see people in other countries that are black, but the ones in this country reject him, why do you think somebody in another country on other soils begging for Trump to come over there, begging for the American soldiers? And here we have them. We're trying to bring them into these cities to keep you and your children alive. That's all. Think about it. What can a National Guard do? They can help extend the lives of your black sons and daughters, the ones that are going to be killed in a line of fire because it's all gang warfare over nothing, depending on what city you're in. It's not even over money or drug turf. It's just they do it for fun. But the ones in Nigeria are grateful and they're begging for the assistance. But the ones here in the United States are brainwashed and manipulated by artists. And look at them. They take it for granted and they literally just destroy themselves. To see somebody like Nicki Minaj, a woman of prominence in the community, speak in favor of the president and come out as conservative, it's refreshing. But again, she's a mother. And when you're going to be raising a child, do you want your child to be a victim or do you want them to be a victor? What's more important? Do you want your child to be an American or do you want them to just be a color? I choose America first, America only, any day of the week.
We need to. We are supporting President Trump. Look at Christians have been killed in Nigeria. Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria.
Thousands of Christians have been killed in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria, but not just in Nigeria. To be honest, it's weird when you meet a Christian Zionist in the United States. It's kind of an oxymoron because we're not welcome in Israel. They would spit on you. If you were reading the Bible or if you was speaking about Jesus, they would literally spit on you or try to attack you. Not me. I'm substantially larger than them, but they'd fuck you up. I don't understand how people can be so loyal to a place they've never been and people they've never met in exchange for money, knowing that these people, it's part of their doctrine and their Talmud to hate you and to reveal you in disgust. To them, we're all just Goyim slaves, even Brandon Tatum. So I don't understand the weird obsession. I mean, yeah, money's important, but is it that important? Because if you're looking for the definition of selling your soul, people that hate your religion and hate your God, but they'll pay you to kiss their ass, that is verbatim the definition of what it is, what it means to sell your soul to the devil. So I'm watching this and I'm looking at these people, and you know, they're obviously covering up a lot. Looking at Shapiro yesterday, panicking on the mic, screaming about a podcaster named Candace Owens. Why does she move the needle so much for these people? Why do you guys care? Somebody was just saying, oh, you're a Candace Owens nut job. Why do you care what Candace Owens is talking about? If she's a conspiracy theory nut job, why do you watch her? If everything she's saying is wrong, why are you paying attention? I would just tune it out. I couldn't tell you that there was a gay trans pedophile that likes little boys and he wrote a book, a cooking book. I wouldn't be able to tell you shit about his recipes because I don't watch it. I don't consume that material because it's bullshit to me. But you guys are consuming Candace Owens, but you're saying she's wrong and you hate her. Why, if she's wrong? Why don't you ignore her? Why doesn't Tim Pool? Why doesn't Shapiro? Why do they care? What nerve has she struck by just asking questions and pontificating about the death of her friend? And that's why this all wraps around to this TPUSA event, because Nicki Minaj probably has zero idea this is going on, because remember, she was just advocating for awareness of the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. She's busy with that. It seems like she's starting to become more politically inclined, and her priorities are starting to shift. But again, she's a mom now with a son, and no mom wants to have a gay son. I'm sorry. I don't care what pink-haired fucking liberal woman tells you otherwise. No woman is giving birth to a boy hoping that he's going to grow up to be weak and pathetic and pretending that he's a mentally ill woman. So this actually is the next video. I think this is the part where Nicki got in a little trouble. So let's trouble with her fans, but I respect her. I think she's great. And I'm actually I'm a fan. I like her music, but I'm a guy. I can't really sing Anaconda. That shit's gonna sound weird as fuck. But I did like the melody or whatever. So let's play with this next part.
Well,
to leave as a legacy in this world for your family, for your baby, for just everything?
Well, that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. You don't have to, sometimes there's a lot of things projected onto you when you change your own mind. They project fear, shame onto people who don't think and do as they think and do.
That reminds me of this woman that's in the chat. Her name is Rachel Negron. She's one of the people that Nicki is referring to. They hate you when you don't do exactly what they want you to do, or if you're not saying what they want you to say. So they try to infiltrate people and they think they can shame you into joining their echo chamber. Fuck you. I'm not going to even ban you. You can kick it and hang out here all you want to, but you're wrong. You're dead wrong. And Tucker destroyed Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro looks like a fucking clown, a punk, a wimp compared to Tucker. Tucker literally grace. Actually, I'm going to play the Tucker part next, and you can see how Ben Shapiro obsessing over Candace, who is now 10 times bigger than him. She's bigger than the entire Daily Wire combined times 3. At our earliest estimate right now, it could be as much as 10x. You don't get that way because you're wrong or you're disingenuous. No one trusts the Daily Wire. No one trusts the Israel Wire. No one trusts Shapiro, Bibi. We all know what and who evil really is. These people are going out of their way to cover up for TPUSA and their security team. I've never seen something like this in my life, where people are magically going out of their way so that you won't ask questions about something that we should all be on the same page about. I thought we all wanted to see Charlie Kirk alive. I thought we all wanted to know what happened to him, the truth. Not frame some autistic kid pretending that he was gay named Tyler Robinson and his furry boyfriend who's magically been missing for 3 months. Some guy that we really don't even know if he exists. Because when they try to go back and trace his family and speak to him, well, there was no son. That's why you don't see press conferences in front of Tyler Robinson's parents' house every week. Remember how that usually happens when there's a tragedy. There's usually news teams camping in the neighborhood trying to get a report, trying to speak to the parents and the family and the friends. You notice how none of that's going on? You notice how when Charlie got hit, nobody on the security team was even looking around to see if there's an active shooter. Nobody was even worried about it. They were like, okay, one shot and done. How did you know there was not going to be more shots and more victims? They knew. People are creatures of habit. We can look at how people behave. People behave within the same, pretty much same mannerisms. That's just how we are. And we have the internet now, right? So the internet's really a time machine. We can go back and look at other mass shooting events, real ones, and see how people behaved. And you can tell that this one was fucking weird. And it wasn't normal. It wasn't natural. It wasn't organic. It was planned. It was scripted. It was like, the curtain comes down, exit stage left, everybody applauds. Well, I don't like the script. And I have questions about what went on backstage. And anybody with any sense is going to have questions. And if you don't like people asking questions, well, then go move to communist China. You can't ask the government anything. But as long as you're in my country, as long as you're here in the United States, you better get fucking used to it. We're going to ask questions. You can't stop us from talking. See, we have a constitution. We have men like me willing to kill, but also die behind the amendments in that constitution. So you have to go up against that, Miss Rachel. And I don't think you have the balls that it requires to do so. So just go ahead and stay in your lane.
But I've traveled the world. I've performed for huge crowds all around the world. And no matter how many songs I do on that stage, it didn't mean as much as this. Because this is a direct link for younger people. This is a direct link between young people and God. And there's been...
And she's right. Regardless of what Erika Kirk has going on in her life, this event, the spirit of it, and what Charlie built is still connecting young people, bringing them into the light of the Lord, speaking to them about Christianity, but also connecting them to conservative values and Christianity as well. Remember, the order it goes in is God, country, family. Without God, you have no country. And without a country, where are you and your family going to live? So you got to understand she's going in the right order, and this is important. So I do appreciate her talking because, yes, she can go out and do shows, she can do music, she can twerk, but that's not going to move the needle as much as her speaking up about what's right. Her speaking right now is speaking into the future, a future her son's going to have to live in one day. And any mistake she makes now, any oversight, or if things fall apart, what world would her son inherit? Say we don't get a conservative president the next time and we go back into constant fear mongering, constant talks of lockdowns and viruses. Remember, until Trump became president this year, they were still talking about that goddamn fake virus that never existed. They're still talking about new viruses and Marburgs and monkeypox and all these other bullshit ass things to keep you afraid. But there's nothing to fear besides fear itself. Also, the spirit of fear is anti-American. It's un-American to be afraid. You know, our ancestors fought on the beaches of Normandy. We fought against the crown. We went against adversity at its strongest. We survived a Great Depression and we rebuilt. Imagine us letting globalists like Klaus Schwab and these others scare us into submission and giving up our human rights and our sovereignty to the World Economic Forum because, well, you have to adhere to their new medical protocols. Yeah, this AR and this 9 tells me I don't have to adhere to shit. Come make me. See, that's the American speak. That's the American spirit. You look fear fear, you look directly at fear and you confront it. You don't run from it and hide. We're not British. You're not going to chase me around with a knife and I'm going to run and hide and tuck. That's not American. So like I said, this is brave of her because of the backlash. You guys understand what it means to be black and to be a conservative, or to be black and a patriot, right? It's damn near a death wish in her community. So she's picking a side, and she's literally abandoning the entire black bullshit community and all their gay shit and all that. She's abandoning it and choosing to be an American. I want to welcome Nicki over here to this side. I mean, maybe she's been here this whole time. I just didn't know because, well, she never publicly declared it. But today she did, and I'm proud of her.
There's been a lack of that. There's been a lack of that in our media, in our everyday conversations. People have been, interestingly enough, people have been, even Christians have been being persecuted right here in our country in different ways. So when we talk about Nigeria,
I mean, Malcolm X also talked about the white liberal, and no one takes that advice seriously. So,
and other countries know that prior administrations saw nothing wrong with that. And that's what was wrong with them.
It seems like she's had a lot to say for a long time. She just was not in a position to say it. She didn't have she had the entire apparatus going against her. And I think now she's finally feeling free. She realizes she has way more to lose by not saying nothing than she does by speaking up. That's huge.
I truly feel that there are people out there who felt good about chastising Christians right here in our country.
Absolutely. Look around. The only religion in this country that anyone ever makes fun of, talks bad about, mocks, Christians. No one says anything about Islam. Nobody mocks Jews. Nobody mocks Buddhists. Nobody. They only have smoke for Christians. They only have complaints about Christians. They only have criticisms about Christianity. They have nothing to say about any of the religions. I'll be honest, it's like no other religion exists except Christianity. But doesn't it seem like no other president in history ever existed except Trump? Even when Trump wasn't president, the people with TDS, that's all they did was still talk about Trump. I'm starting to see parallels. It's almost as if we're living in a simulation, because it's literally the same pattern over and over again, just with different subjects. Do me a favor, since you're here and you're listening, if you can hear my voice, please come to the YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the video, help push me into the algorithm. I do like tons of these episodes. I do tons of shows every day about all different topics. So I'll definitely entertain you if you subscribe. So I appreciate you guys' support. Let's get back to it.
And it's kind of really, really sick. We can't let people like that be in power, you guys. That's the truth. I can sugarcoat it and laugh and kiki, but the truth is, I am here today to tell you guys that. We absolutely cannot let people who have a problem with us worshiping God, we cannot have them in power.
Don't you guys remember back in 2020, 2021, if you're from California like me, 2022 and 2023, all of our churches were closed down. They wouldn't even let us do outside service. They forced the churches to close down. Pastors were arrested. They didn't even want you to do online services. They wanted to shut you down. But according to the Ninth Amendment in the Constitution, I have the liberty over my body. And if I wanted to go outside and worship and pray in the sun and risk dying from a deadly virus, that's my right to do so. Who are you to tell me that I have to keep myself alive? There's medical assisted suicide that's legal in the United States in like 14 states. So you can commit suicide in other states, but I couldn't go outside and pray, or I couldn't go into a church and pray at my own risk. I'm not hurting the government. I'm not in danger if I wanted to go and pray by myself. But if there's other people and we all agree we want to be there together, even if we're going to hurt each other, that's our right to do so. And they blocked us. They didn't want you talking about God. They didn't want you to congregate. They didn't want anybody to talk to you about the truth. The truth is, in the United States, that's illegal and that's against the Constitution. To tell people what they can and cannot do with their bodies, to tell people that they have to take an experimental medical procedure that's irreversible and from unknown origins. I mean, we do know the origins. We're learning them now. We're learning that's why they can't release the Epstein files, because they contain the COVID files. It wasn't just the politicians on that island. It was the scientists. Why do you think Epstein had an office at MIT? Why do you think he had an office at all these other high-end universities in their science labs? What were they studying? Those 1,000 scientists that were working in the labs on Epstein Island, what were they researching? All the children that they took after the earthquake in Haiti, in the Caribbean and West Africa, and they trafficked them to those islands, the ones that weren't there for sex. What did they do with them? Why did they want those dark kids? What did they experiment on? And now, why are all your favorite black athletes and celebrities just croaking like crazy after taking the shot? It seems like whatever they were working on, they were successful in their research. So yeah, it's not going to, we can't release the Epstein files for a few more years, because all they're going to do is manipulate the findings when it comes out that they built a bioweapon. And they're going to say, well, Trump must have did it with warp speed. Epstein was working on his island in the 90s. They've been working on this think about it. They had 8 billion batches of the vax in 2021. To even make 1 billion, even if you had labs all over the world making 1 vial per second in multiple labs, it would take you 7 years to make only 1 billion. So where the hell did 8 billion come from? There's a lot of things that people don't understand, and we literally lived through it. If you're still here and you're hearing my voice, you survived one of the greatest propaganda campaigns in human history. Our leaders pressed it upon us. It only stopped when Trump took office again, and it only just stopped. Trump's only been in office since what, the end of January? We're in December. That's a short period of time. So you got to remember where we came from and what we survived. We persevered. We can't go back. There's no way we can be in the world we are now, and then our counterparts are going to say, you know what? I understand what Trump's doing, but you know that guy that's running over there, he wants to do child mutilation. He wants to see trans kids. He wants to open a border. Maybe we should give him a shot. That's not how it's going to work. We're not losing the midterms because of Candace Owens. We're not losing. There's nothing that's going to be appealing about the left after what we saw them do to us under Biden and Harris. Matter of fact, we didn't even see Biden and Harris that much. They didn't even talk to us. We don't know what they accomplished. All we know is whatever their staff told us that they wanted you to do, and the corporations and these pharmaceutical companies went crazy. We finally are getting law and order restored back to our country. We're shoring up our borders. We're removing the illegals, the ones that are siphoning all of our resources and voting illegally. We're kicking them all out, all of them. So this is the right thing to do. We're on the right track, but we have to make sure we stay on this track. And it's going to require all of us to share videos like this one, to also support these other conservative events in the movement, because we must inform people, and we must never let them forget what happened during the scamdemic. Now, I know some of you are watching me. Somebody's in the chat. You guys are talking about Texas and Florida. I know it only lasted 2 weeks there, but I'm from Los Angeles. We didn't reopen until September 2023. We lost 3 3.75 years to this scam. We're never going to recover in LA. They're burning everything down. They're moving the homeless. Everybody else left. The city's a war zone. I lost my home. I'm a refugee in Texas now. One of the last states in our republic, but we're slowly taking back our country. So we must support these movements, these videos, must support the people that are talking to us and for us. So that's why I'm here. I'm pleading my case to you. Follow the channel, like the video. I appreciate you guys being here. Let's get back to the show.
We cannot have them in power. All you have to do is look at what is happening in other places in the world. Look at what is being done to Christians all around the world. And ask yourself why people in this country that were in positions of power felt so comfortable to try to take our voices from us. They were that afraid. They are that intimidated. They are that insecure. They are that small inside that hearing us and seeing us worship God irritated them. Our spirit irritates them because when we speak, they get shown up.
There's somebody in the comments that said, what do you mean what the left did to us? These fucking people are so brain dead and idiotic. Oh, you poor man, it must be so hard being the victim. I'm a victor. I survived. I didn't even take the test. I never sheltered in place. I never wore masks. I actually went to jail and got arrested over not wearing masks. So I'm actually, and I persevered and I won. I don't have cancer. I'm not sick like all my other friends. The victims are those who fell for the propaganda because they were Democrats. I remember when Kamala Harris said, if you question the vaccine, well, you're no better than a white supremacist who's a Trump supporter. So basically, if you're against racism, you're against slavery, then you got to take the vaccine to prove your loyalty. That type of low-level, low IQ manipulation worked on a certain portion of our society, a large swath of them. And I saw through it because it made no fucking sense. How is me asking questions about a medical procedure the hallmarks of white supremacy? So you're saying white supremacy is me asking questions and me not being a complete idiot? Well, then call me a white supremacist, if that's what it takes. Because if to be a black supremacist is to be a complete moron that questions nothing and does whatever the television says. Because remember, none of these people came to your house, right? Fauci, that little piece of shit midget, never knocked on your door and said, hello, you need to take the... No. Your television told you to do it. The TV screen told you to roll up your sleeves and go into a drive-thru behind a burnt down Wendy's and let some asshole wearing a mask and black Air Force Ones shoot you up with something. But you got to wait 15 minutes. You can't drive off instantly in case you die. And you did it. So I didn't do it. I was smarter, so I won. I was victorious. But my uncles were not so lucky, my cousins, a lot of my friends in LA who had jobs or they thought that their grandmother was immunocompromised, and everybody kept telling me, oh man, but I didn't want to do it, but my grandmother. And I'm like, if you got to take an experimental injection to see Granny, then me and Granny gonna have to just talk on Zoom. Fuck that. I'm sorry. You gotta stand by your principles. And I think that's the difference between us and the left. We're principled people. We're pragmatic. We're people of logic. I don't even understand how people, when I ask people, well, what were you going to vote for when it came to Kamala? They don't want to have the conversation. Oh, I'm leaving. I'm like, wait, because I asked you why you were going to, like, what Kamala policies were you in favor of? Like, what was she offering you? Because I know what Trump's offering me. He told me they're going to get, so I understand. So what is Kamala offering you for your support? And they had no answer. That's when I realized, cognitive dissonance is real. People live in these weird fantasies, or maybe they're NPCs and they're not even sentient anyway. Maybe they're just drones. Maybe we're just surrounded by a bunch of fucking Sims. I don't know, but I just know that I made it out and I'm still here today and I'm still trying to guide people out. So I'm not a victim, but the rest of the people that fell for it, that took those injections that are now sterile, turbo cancer, blood clots, aneurysms, a creature growing inside you that they injected, into you. I don't have those issues. So I'm not the victim, but there's a lot of people that are.
When the truth walks in the room, the lies hide. They don't come out willingly. You got to pry it out of them. They hide because they don't want you or anyone to know who they really are.
Bro, look at this evil monster in the chat. He put, "You ain't my brother. I'm actually not your fucking brother. You can go to hell." But I don't know, whatever diatribe he spits, but at the end it said, "F Jesus." Like, that's not offensive to me. I don't care if you said you don't like Jesus. I know like 10 guys named Jesus, and they all overcharged me when they did my yard. Fuck them too. I don't care. You think that that's going to offend me. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't offend any of us. We're bigger than you. And we're not as weak as you. Weak people, weak adults, you can call them names and they'll just fold and cry like jello. Oh, I'm so sad. No. That doesn't work with adults. That doesn't work with men. Now I dare you to pull up. Now we're talking. Now this gets fun, but you guys aren't with that. You guys are internet people, keyboard warriors. So you can have your opinion about Jesus or whatever, but at the end of the day, when you die, they're going to have your funeral at a church and someone's going to pray over you with the Bible. So you can have your little slick opinions now because you're gay, but your parents aren't, and they're going to have to bury you one day, and they're going to read a Bible verse over your little pissy body. So just keep in mind, you will be a Christian one way or the other.
Behind closed doors, because even they know how evil it is to try to deprive people of worshiping God.
What have you, you're an amazing mom.
The doctors didn't give out the vaccines. They had vaccine stations where you would go and you can pull into a drive-through and get a vax. There were no doctors administering vaccines because of the liabilities. And the doctors and the nurses, 73% of them or more, refused. But you didn't. So you're scared. And I understand that. That's why I'm not going to reject you. I'm embracing you. And I'll be here to tell those who survive you what happened to you. I know what you did last summer.
What have you seen that has been a struggle for young women today? And then also, since both of us have little boys, I would love for you to also talk about the male side of that question as well.
Okay, well, something that I've noticed recently is that for little girls, I think that
this is the part where her community is split in half and they're fighting the barbs.
No matter how you look, we should be trying to instill into them to be proud of how they look. Recently, in the media, it's almost been like a push to, it's not just making young Black children feel proud of themselves, but it's almost like doing that and at the same time telling other children not to be proud of themselves.
She's talking about the systematic degradation and demoralization of white children. They basically want white kids to be pre-installed with white guilt, and it's installed in them by their schools and their teachers by telling them that they were born evil, and they make up all these stories and lies about slavery and all stuff that these kids were not even alive for. These people want these children to feel less than. And because they notice that it works with the Black community and that's how they're able to control them. So if you can just demoralize the white community, maybe you can grow their children to grow into simple, easy to manipulate little minions of yours. But we're calling it out early. We're able to protect our children from that type of propaganda because it's anti-American, to be honest.
And I don't want any child feeling that way. If I
was very proud when JD Vance came on the microphone today and he said, no longer will we have to be ashamed to be white. People don't realize that, like, the first person to ever platform me talking about anything to do with politics or current events was a friend of mine. He is Blanchard back in 2020. And I told him, I said, Blanche, on the show, and I have the video, I said, I'm noticing in the media, they'll let you say anything you want. Evil, you can make threats about, as long as it's about somebody who's white. Now, you can't say it about Jewish people, but you can say it about white people. You can't talk about Asians or Mexicans or blacks, but you can say the most vile and evil and disgusting things and make the worst jokes and just literally thread upon thread on Facebook, making up all these terrible, nasty things about white people, calling them all these horrible names, all these weird accusations. I'm like, they're allowing that to happen, but they're still, banning people for saying racist stuff about other people. It's like they're trying to they're training the public to know that you can target this one community with impunity, but only them. And I said, it's like they're building an army around the white community, and the white community has no idea. I call it the Black Army, but I spelled it BLAQARMY because it was basically a hybrid of the black community and the gay community. And if you look, it's even gay white people slamming and saying all this evil stuff about white people. But I'm like, but you're white too. And they're like, no, I'm not white, I'm gay. Completely different group. And we don't, and regular people in society, we have no idea that there's all these nuances and differences amongst these groups, but there are. Now people are finally saying, I'm seeing it too. You guys are just about 4 years too late, but we have to put a stop to it because they're using this to literally target the mental of children. We can't allow that. As an adult, I can withstand it, but imagine being a kid being told that you were born inherently evil just because your parents were white. And it makes you, that's where you get the insecurity and the complexes from, and you don't feel good about yourself. You don't even feel like an American. That's why we push America first. All this color bullshit, it doesn't even matter. Are you an American or are you not? And if you're not a proud American, then you're in the wrong country. The airports are open. Fly somewhere else. Relocate. Repatriate yourself. Show us that you really hate this country. Give up your citizenship. You don't have to stay. So Nicki is right, and I'm so glad Nicki and JD spoke about that today. We need to hear it.
If as Black women, we felt that we were not being represented and not being admired for our beauty, if we felt like that as Black women, why would we want to do that to other women? Why would we now need to make other people downplay their beauty so that we can feel, no, that's not how it works. I don't need someone with blonde hair and blue eyes to downplay their beauty because I know my beauty. Do you understand? It doesn't bother me that a woman feels and says that she's beautiful. Why shouldn't she feel that? Why have we gotten to a point where certain colors or certain kinds of people have to be afraid of loving themselves and loving the way they look?
Excellent point. I think she's also referring back to a few months ago, the jeans commercial with, what was her last name? Sydney Sweeney. And she was saying, I got good genes, but she's a beautiful girl, blonde hair, blue eyes. But other people who are insecure about their appearance and they feel they feel inferior. They were on the internet. Oh my God, she's saying she has good genes, so maybe that means I have bad. So it's like you're internalizing it because that's how you feel about yourself. And that's because your parents failed you. But also that means that the propaganda was successful. See, there is no such thing as a beauty standard. Every individual person creates their own beauty standard. You can decide what you like to look at. The television doesn't decide for you. You're leaning too much on programming and propaganda to tell you what to do. So what they're doing now is they're trying to make any girls that look like Sydney Sweeney feel bad about themselves for being pretty or for being blonde or for having blue eyes. And they think that putting these people down is going to make them go up. That's not how it works. You're just trying to pull them down to your level. You don't move at all. because you're already at the bottom. You see yourself at the bottom. Your parents failed you. Your parents raised you and propagandized you and ruined you. It wasn't white people that told you that you couldn't do certain things and you were less than. It was the people that raised you. I met people that talk like that, and they've never met two white people in their whole lives, lived in the hood their whole lives, but they have this extremely weird fear of the KKK and they're more scared of the KKK when everyone they know in their entire lives only been killed by Bloods and Crips. As far as I know, there aren't any KKKs in the Bloods and the Crips. That's how strong propaganda is towards just our certain American communities. So when Nicki is pointing this out to people, well, it gives people like me a chance to react to it and put it into perspective so that you guys can understand where it's coming from. It's kind of my role here, and I'm happy to do so. I mean, I can definitely disseminate this and explain it to you guys, and I'm happy. Do me a favor, if you can like the video, subscribe to the page. I have way more content like this, and I appreciate all your support. You guys have been great. You guys are also keeping the comments going. I really do appreciate you.
Like, isn't that wild? And so for little girls, I don't want what was done to little black girls done to little white girls. I don't want it done to any girls. I want all the little girls in the world to know that you are unique. You are beautiful. You are you, and you can compliment a.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. Okay, somebody said no matter what Nicki says, you're going to agree. Well, I mean, is she saying anything that's wrong? I mean, what are you expecting her to say? Are you expecting her to give you your winning lotto numbers and you're going to go play them and you're going to lose? Maybe you shouldn't look to Nicki for that. Just like with anything else in life, you listen to it, you take out the parts that you need, and you throw the rest away. You don't take out the parts you need and then also take the stuff you don't need and then play around with it. Like, you don't do that. Just throw it away. If you don't like Nicki Minaj, you don't have to follow her. You don't have to listen to her. If you don't like Candace Owens, she's only a podcaster. She's not an elected official. She's not your mom. She's not, anyone that you're forced to listen to. You can just block her. You could block Mickey. You could block Nicki. You could block Rico. You don't have to listen to me. But if these people aren't saying nothing wrong, why wouldn't I listen to her? Again, if something wrong comes out, I just won't take that in. I'm never going to 100% agree. I don't even 100% agree with myself all the time. I'm conflicted on a couple of topics. So I'm definitely not going to 100% agree with her. I don't 100% agree with Trump all the time. But again, I agree with them more than I agree with the people on the left. The ones that want to castrate children and convince little boys that they can become little girls. Fun fact, 100% of all gender reassignment surgeries and transition surgeries that have ever been performed in human history, 100% failure rate. Because there's no such thing as changing one's gender. Don't let the people on the left keep lying to you. And because of that, I'm on the right.
Another girl, you can compliment another woman and still know that you are epic and amazing. So that's what I would say for the girls. And I know my adults understand clearly where.
What do you mean MAGA is racist? What does that even matter? What does being racist matter to you? What does that mean to you anyway? What does that mean to you? How is that even an insult, being racist anymore? In 2025, what does being racist even mean? What is it? Why does that hurt you? Why does that scare you? What does it even matter? Does racism hurt you? Is that somebody touching you or doing something to you? This is America. Nobody has to like you or your fucking people. It doesn't matter. If you've had a bunch of bad experiences with one race, and because of that, you don't want to deal with that race anymore, then that's your God-given goddamn right. Everybody can have their preferences. And if my preference is not to fuck with people like you or your people, then that's my right to do so. And you're not going to shame me or anybody else into thinking that we have to deal with you. DEI is over. Those days of us having to hire these unmanageable and just extremely annoying and just insufferable people so that we can meet DEI requirements so we can boost our company's ESG score. Those days are over. Forced integration with people who don't want to integrate with you, who don't want to join the culture and be a part of the group, those who are going to just call everything you do racist or whatever. And we don't have to deal with that anymore. Those days are over. So you can go join your little cult and you can go cry about racism. Nobody cares. That doesn't mean anything anymore. Actually, racism is a sign of intellect because, well, that's just pattern recognition. It means your brain's working. We all look for patterns. So really, if the pattern is one group of people committing certain crimes, well, then your problem isn't with racism. Your problem is with reality. But I heard the other day somebody said reality is racist. So what does that say about your race then? It doesn't say nothing about reality. It's you.
I'm going with that, where I'm getting, I don't like that. I don't like people making other people feel badly about themselves in any way. We need to nurture young girls. Yes.
U.S. Navy sailor vet? Absolutely. Only idiots here in the United States refer to themselves as a color. According to the UN, if you're a color, you're not even a human. You have to have a nationality. You can't just be a color. And there's only one group that calls themselves a color. But then they wonder why people don't take them seriously. And, oh, you're only 1/5 of a human. It's the law. You're not even a human without a nationality. If you're calling yourself a color, you're not calling yourself by your nationality. You really don't count. You have no rights under the UN treaties or anything. You have no, you're not there. So people don't understand that because, well, learning and reading are hallmarks of white supremacy. So you really can't really blame them for not understanding how things work.
Whether they are Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, they still need to be nurtured. They cannot continue to pay for other people's sins.
Todd Studio, well, I'm actually Cuban. So, and yeah, I mean, yeah, you can say that if you want to. I didn't see anything wrong with either one of those groups so those actually, I appreciate the compliment. Todd Studio, thank you for the compliment. Hey, shout out to you too. Kiss your mother for me.
So they haven't done anything wrong.
Amen. So why now have you been involved with speaking about politics? What was kind of the turning point for you? Yeah.
What was the turning point? Well, I just got tired of being pushed around. Well, sometimes you just get tired of it, and then you realize, wait a minute, I have something inside of me that's stronger than what's out there.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of us are realizing we have something out there that's stronger than those that are trying to tell us how to think. You know how many times people have come to me and said, well, you're dark skinned, so you should do this, or you're dark skinned, so you should think this, or you should believe this. And I like to fight. So if you whoop me in a fight, then I'll think whatever you want me to think. But until then, you can get the hell out of my face. For one thing, I don't base what I think or what I say or what I do based off of something as shallow and superficial as my appearance. That would be asinine and ridiculous. I'm a man of logic. I'm a man of science. I actually look in and read, and then I will make an informed decision based on my own opinion, not based on pressure or what other people are going to think about it. I've lost friends, but I've made less enemies because I have literally been honest and I've been consistent, but also I'm able to clearly articulate my opinions and explain how I got to certain points. And I'm not just saying stuff and I don't know what I mean. I remember back in 2018, somebody was talking to me and I was telling my friend, I was like, yeah, and Trump is so bad. I hate Trump, this and this. And he was like, and he's the dude that I knew, another gangbanger in LA. And he was like, why do you hate Trump? Like, what did Trump do to you? And do you know how embarrassed I was when I couldn't give him a whole list? Like in my mind, I'm thinking I have a whole list of terrible things that this guy's done. I had nothing. I had nothing. And I was so embarrassed and ashamed that I let two gay guys who live in a different lifestyle to me, different world. I let two gay men control my mind, and I'm not even gay. So why am I listening to Don Lemon and fucking Anderson Cooper, tell me what to think and believe as a man. They live in a completely different universe than me, completely different world. But here I am turning on CNN and letting them tell me a bunch of lies about this man. You know, I wasted 2.5 years not respecting and cheering on and supporting my president. I wasted so much time not even knowing his policies or what he was saying. And then after that, I started to listen to him and listen to his rallies on my own without somebody else listening to it and then regurgitating their version of it with their bullshit. You know, that's what bullying is. These people, they try to shame you into submission. It's not happening. Not anymore. Something inside us is stronger than that, than what they're trying. And they're going to have to try way harder. The good thing is they only can try you on the internet. In real person, these people are soft and timid and quiet and scared and small. In real life, the people that you have to worry about are people like us, behemoths, people that can talk and people that are willing to defend what they're saying and what they believe. But we have the right side of history to stand on. We understand what's going on. Our moral compass is calibrated properly. So that's why we can stand on what we're saying. We can explain it.
That's right. So when you've had enough, you realize, wait a minute, why do I even care about these people and what they think? Who are they? They don't even know who they are. So I'm not going to back down anymore. I'm not going to back down ever again.
Amen.
That was great. I wanted to see what Nicki Minaj says. Let's see here. What else did she say? Right here.
Be boys.
Amen.
Be boys. It's okay. Be boys. It's nothing wrong with being a boy. How about that?
Amen.
So I was watching a lot of I was on X, and a lot of her trans fans were going crazy. Who does she think she is to say this? To say what? That boys will be boys and there's nothing wrong with being a boy? Well, yeah, we have to say that now because there's literally funding behind campaigns to convince your son that he's really your daughter, to convince your son that he should like boys as well, to convince your son that maybe he might want to cut off his own genitals and, run away to California to a trans sanctuary state just to get away from his evil Trump supporting parents. There's actually money behind campaigns to brainwash children into mutilating themselves. And we all know that the LGBT, the gay agenda is the depopulation agenda. That lifestyle, they don't live to be 60 or 70 years old. They don't have families. They crash out and they self-delete. Suicide rates are high. Murder suicide rates are high. They, in their relationship, when they go through breakups, it's rough because that lifestyle is a lonely lifestyle. It's not one that is fulfilling. All that same sex, but there will never be a child produced from it. There's no marriage coming. And humans, we've lived a certain way throughout human history. This last 20 years or so is our first time ever trying to reinvent the wheel of humanity. And we're receiving the same results as when someone tries to water grass with Gatorade. Sure, you think it has all the electrolytes, you watch the commercials, you think it's a great idea. It'll never compete with nature. So we're seeing that fundamentally play out, and the propaganda is stronger towards children. So we do have to say things like there's nothing wrong with being a boy. Everything's trying to convince you that just being a man or a boy that's eventually going to become a man is toxic. And they want you to be weak so they can take you. They want you to be weak so they can overpower you and dominate you. So when you see a woman like Nicki telling you to make sure you remind your sons that there's nothing wrong with being a boy. Because remember, she's a boy mom. That's important. These are all things we need to be reinforcing with our children and with those around us. I know too many of my friends whose sons went to school one day and came back a daughter, sassy. They will never reproduce. They will never have children. They'll never grow out of it. It's a part of their identity. And then you end up disowning your kids, and now your family has a big breach. It's sad. You know, I got lucky. It didn't hit my family, but it hit a lot of families around us because they didn't have the strong family guidance and the moral compass that my family had. They didn't, you know, I always say it, I got lucky. A lot of kids didn't. A lot of kids' family would just put them in front of a TV and walk away. Their parents didn't work with them. Their grandparents didn't work with them. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know what to believe. And then you put them in a school where there's a gay teacher or some kind of racist, black radical teacher that's teaching you to be that you're less than and that you're oppressed and that you're a victim and that you're a slave and all this other bullshit that's nonsense. And they push that onto children. And then we wonder why these kids grow up and they can hardly function in society. So we got to build more and more cages to put them in because they don't know how to behave or be natural or to, you know, join society, go to work, have a family. You know, without doing those things as a human, you kind of run out of purpose. Most people you ask, you know, what is your motivation in life? And when the first thing they say is they have children, is my kids. Their kids are what they live for. Their kids are their purpose. I don't like Erika Kirk, but she has to play a role of a mother. And Nicki Minaj does as well. And that's important. You know, I mean, if we're going to look for guidance from women, Nicki Minaj is a good example because even though there's going to be a hefty price to pay with her audience, she's still doing the right thing by having this conversation. So I really do appreciate her coming up here. And again, I appreciate you guys all in the comments. Yeah, there's some pedos in there. There's always a pedo in there who hates the country, but they won't leave. They hate white people, but they won't leave. They hate everything. So just let them. And you just look at them and you should feel sorry for them. Because everything that I'm naming, all those different forms of propaganda, if it missed you, it hit them right on the target. Mission complete. Imagine being an adult with so many conflicts inside you and so much anger and vitriol for the rest of the world. Because remember, if you're a man, but you're feminine, well, just like women, there's no accountability. So you're going to blame everything and everyone for all of your problems. You're going to blame Trump. You never met him, but you blame Trump for all your problems. Now you're going to blame Nicki Minaj. You used to blame Charlie Kirk. And then you celebrated when he died, but you woke up and guess who you were still? You were still you. Same problems, same issues. So, I mean, you can say whatever you want about me. You're still going to be you tomorrow. And I'll still be here talking to those who want to hear me and those who want to listen. I'll still be here doing me and you'll be doing you and whoever else you're doing. You know what? You're right. I haven't seen Erika with her kids. I have never seen her do anything with her children. But then again, I mean, I never really seen Charlie with his kids. I know he talked about his kids, but he was a man that was busy. He was on the road 300 days a year, and then he had a podcast show that he did every day. He was a very important person with helping us fight against the left and bring in the Trump administration for a second term. He spoke out against Senate Bill 145 out of California, which decriminalized pedophilia, meaning that if you're caught molesting an underage kid, if the kid identifies as gay too, then you don't have to be registered on the sex offenders list. We spoke out against that. Trump did and Kirk did. And that's when Kirk really became a target because that legislation was starting to make his way east from California. Once Kirk started talking about it on the college tour, the states that were considering it rolled it all the way the fuck back. All of it. It all. So that's when people started freaking out. Oh, you're taking away our rights. Well, what right is that, sir? Oh, you thought you thought you were about to get the right where you can target children for sex and it would no longer be a crime. It would just be an affirmed sexuality. Huh. Because that's the only right these people, we all have the same rights as Americans. It doesn't matter where you stick your penis at night. You still have the same rights. But the only right that they wish they had rights to is the right to children, without going to jail. See, right now it's still criminalized. They were hoping to, instead of making it legal, just decriminalize and remove the penalties. You know, Scott Wiener in California, who proposed the bill, put it forward. He rationalized it by saying that the laws on the books against pedophilia are disproportionately affecting the gay community. So instead of him going to his community and teaching them not to target kids, well, they just petitioned the state government in exchange for their support, change the laws. And it worked in California, and it almost worked in 49 other states, minus Texas. And that's why these people hated Kirk. They were so happy because he knocked their hustle. He ruined their plans, and so did Trump. And now you got more and more people that are coming out, speaking out against this stuff. And we're just pushing back. I mean, I just couldn't believe how many pedophiles there were in MAPS, minor attracted person. I'm shocked every day. But those people need to go back into the closets and back into the holes where they were hiding and stay there. Coming out thinking we're about to be affirmed. We're about to be a party. That's not happening. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. You have no idea. You don't live with Trump. You don't know if he's an active father or not. You probably don't know anything about your own father. You probably never met him. But you're criticizing Trump, a man you never met, but you can't criticize your own blood father that you've also never met, which is sad. Yeah, that's true. There's only two genders, XX and XY. You know what's crazy? No one ever tells me that there are 50 genders for dogs or hamsters, right? They only say it when it comes to mentally ill kids. They're trying to convince you. The good thing is those numbers of kids who think that are plummeting. It's like everything's being reversed under this new under the current administration. And I'm here. I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see it. Sure you did, sir. Or Sean, sure you did. I doubt it. I doubt it. That's not even a common thing for your group. So, man, what is his pocket has nothing to do with me. And it's not really a fight. I'm just talking. And I can talk about whatever I want to. I don't need your approval. I don't know why you would think that, but you're dead wrong about that. I don't need you to tell me what I can or can't do. I'm gonna do it anyway. You're wasting your time. Yeah, but you're still here listening to me, so there must be something about slow people you like. You see that? Yeah, chat is it's not the whole chat. It's the same chat that's in the real world, just the blacks and the gays. Go ahead and look at everybody's profile that's mad in the chat. If they're not black, they're gay. You're going to find that pattern throughout society. Remember, it's called the Black Army, BLAQARMY, and it's a hashtag in front of it. Look it up on Instagram. You'll see all the different posts. I'm not the only person that figured out that they literally created an army of blacks and gays that pretty much just go around trying to rip the country apart by shaming people and talking bad about the president. And actually they're getting active. They're actually actively attacking and killing white women on buses, on trains, on subways. And it's funny, they prosecuted Daniel Penny for protecting people. And now people are being attacked and killed by black people on public transportation. And no one's stepping in because they made such a public example of Daniel Penny. People are afraid to go to jail. People are afraid to be prosecuted by defending women and children. It's sad, but I live in Texas. So I got something for you in case we're ever in one of those situations. I don't have to worry about that. But then again, I was strategic about where I chose to live. And I used to live in California where we don't have those defenses. And once I figured out where the direction California was going, I evacuated. There's a lot of people like, oh, the weather's so nice. It's so nice. I want to just lay out on the concrete and bleed to death because somebody stabbed me or shot me trying to rob me. All those beautiful beaches are really nice if you're going to be buried next to it. I mean, what's the purpose? It's not even safe. You can't even live there. We're going to literally have to take back some of these states by force. We're not going to, because there's no way we can just cross our fingers. We're literally going to have to go into these states, replace the government. I mean, a lot of the police forces have been demoralized. We're going to have to replace them. We're going to have to replace everything. It's not going to be easy, but we have to do it. We have to do it. This is an active chat. I do appreciate it. But look, I'll be back on with another episode in about 25 minutes. I got to go get some water. I got to go through comments. I got super chats because people were sending donations to the Cash App, but I didn't post it this time. But I want to read those questions in the next video. So I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Like the page, share the page. If you're a patriot, if you agree with what I'm saying, or if you want to just hear more and you're curious, follow the channel, The Single Boyfriend or Right Wing Rico, 2 channels, or The Single Boyfriend on any of the other platforms. Originally, I was just going to do relationship stuff, but then politics came in, and I was like, so I'm here. I'm doing it all. I have a wide range of things I talk about. I talk about all subjects. So if you have a topic you want me to talk about, please send me an email or send me a message, and I'll take care of it. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.